Since the dawn of the atomic age, humanity has lived under the shadow of nuclear annihilation. This threat has re-emerged with a vengeance in recent years. Global tensions escalate, bringing us closer to catastrophe. The destructive power of nuclear weapons is unparalleled. A single detonation can obliterate entire cities. Multiple detonations would unleash a global nuclear winter. This would cause widespread famine and ecological collapse. The existence of these weapons poses an existential threat. It is a chilling reminder of our capacity for self-destruction. The potential for nuclear conflict is no longer confined to history books. The geopolitical landscape is fraught with tensions. Nationalism, eroded norms, and new technologies contribute to this environment. Understanding these factors is crucial to mitigating the risk of a nuclear catastrophe. In a move that sent shockwaves through the international community, Russian President Vladimir Putin unveiled a new nuclear doctrine in November 2024. This doctrine significantly lowers the threshold for Russia's use of nuclear weapons. It states that Russia reserves the right to use nuclear weapons in response to conventional attacks that threaten the country's sovereignty or the integrity of its territory. This change in doctrine represents a dangerous escalation in nuclear rhetoric. It signals a willingness on the part of the Kremlin to contemplate the use of nuclear weapons in scenarios that were previously unthinkable. The inclusion of Belarus, a close Russian ally in this security umbrella, further heightens anxieties. The potential consequences of this doctrine are far-reaching. It introduces a level of ambiguity and unpredictability into already tense situations. This could lead to miscalculations and escalate conventional conflicts into nuclear confrontations. Putin's doctrine is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace in the nuclear age. It underscores the need for clear communication, confidence-building measures, and a renewed commitment to arms control treaties to prevent a catastrophic miscalculation. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine, now exceeding 1,000 days, serves as a stark illustration of how quickly geopolitical tensions can escalate into a global crisis with nuclear implications. Russia's deployment of North Korean troops to the region adds a volatile new element to the conflict. This alliance raises concerns about the transfer of military technology and the potential for further escalation. The involvement of external powers further complicates the situation. The United States, while providing significant military aid to Ukraine, walks a tightrope. It aims to support its ally while avoiding direct military confrontation with Russia. The potential collapse of French and German governments, coupled with former President Trump's threats to cut off aid to Ukraine, threatens to fracture European unity. This uncertainty weakens the Western alliance and emboldens Russia, potentially leading to miscalculations and escalation. The Ukraine conflict is a powder keg in the heart of Europe. It highlights the interconnectedness of global security and the ease with which regional conflicts can spiral out of control, bringing the world dangerously close to the nuclear precipice. Iran's continued pursuit of its nuclear program casts a long shadow over the Middle East and beyond. Despite international sanctions and condemnation, Tehran remains defiant in its pursuit of nuclear technology. While Iranian officials maintain that their program is for peaceful purposes, the United States and its allies view it with deep suspicion. Iran's deepening ties with Russia and China raise further concerns. Collaboration in areas like nuclear energy and military technology could provide Iran with the means to accelerate its nuclear program. This has heightened tensions, particularly with Israel, which views a nuclear-armed Iran as an existential threat. Israel, which possesses its own undeclared nuclear arsenal, has repeatedly threatened preemptive military action against Iranian nuclear facilities. Such an attack, if carried out, could trigger a regional conflagration, drawing in major powers and potentially escalating into a wider conflict. The Iranian nuclear issue is a Gordian knot of geopolitical complexities. Resolving this crisis peacefully requires a delicate balancing act of diplomacy, sanctions, and a clear understanding of the red lines of all parties involved. Section 5. North Korea. The unpredictable arsenal. North Korea, under the leadership of Kim Jong-un, remains one of the most volatile actors on the world stage. Its pursuit of nuclear weapons and ballistic missile technology, coupled with its bellicose rhetoric, poses a significant threat to regional and global security. Pyongyang's recent vow to destroy America and its 2024 mutual defense treaty with Russia have further heightened tensions. This treaty, which could provide North Korea with access to advanced Russian military technology, is a cause for serious concern. North Korea's decision to renounce reunification with South Korea has also sent shockwaves throughout the region. This move has sparked debates in South Korea and Japan about developing their own nuclear deterrence, potentially triggering a regional arms race. The unpredictable nature of the North Korean regime makes it a particularly dangerous player in the global arena. Its actions are often driven by internal political calculations and a siege mentality. This unpredictability makes it difficult to deter North Korea through traditional diplomatic channels. Section 6. China and Taiwan, a powder keg in the Pacific. The Taiwan Strait is arguably the most dangerous flashpoint in the world today. China's unwavering commitment to reunifying Taiwan with the mainland, by force if necessary, has set it on a collision course with the United States and its allies. China's rapid expansion of its nuclear arsenal in 2024, coupled with its increasingly assertive military posture in the region, has raised alarm bells in Washington and other capitals. Beijing's growing military might is seen as a direct challenge to the United States' long-standing military dominance in the Pacific. While China seeks to control escalation and deter direct conflict with the United States, the risk of miscalculation is high. Any military action against Taiwan, even if limited in scope, could quickly spiral out of control, drawing in other regional powers and potentially leading to a wider conflagration. The Taiwan issue is a tinderbox that could ignite a global conflict. The stakes are incredibly high, and the potential consequences of a conflict in the Taiwan Strait are almost unthinkable. Section 7. Technological advancements, a double-edged sword. Technological advancements, while often seen as a driver of progress, can also exacerbate the risks associated with nuclear weapons. The rapid development of artificial intelligence, for example, has raised concerns about the potential for autonomous weapon systems and the automation of command and control structures. While proponents argue that AI could enhance the safety and reliability of nuclear command and control systems, critics warn of the dangers of removing human judgment from the decision-making loop. They argue that AI systems are vulnerable to hacking, malfunction, and unintended consequences. Furthermore, the increasing use of nuclear energy for civilian purposes, driven in part by the need to combat climate change, has led to the proliferation of sensitive nuclear technologies and materials. This raises concerns about the potential for these technologies to be diverted for military purposes, further increasing the risk of nuclear proliferation. Technological advancements in the nuclear realm are a double-edged sword. They offer both opportunities for enhancing safety and risks of unintended consequences. It is imperative that the international community works together to establish clear norms and regulations governing the development and deployment of these technologies. Section 8. Echoes of the Cuban Missile Crisis. The current geopolitical climate, with its heightened nuclear tensions, has drawn comparisons to the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962. The United States and the Soviet Union came perilously close to nuclear war over the placement of Soviet missiles in Cuba. Like then, today's situation is marked by alliances, misperceptions, and the risk of escalation. The lack of clear communication and trust heightens the risk of miscalculation. The lessons of the Cuban Missile Crisis remain relevant today. Diplomacy and creative solutions are crucial to avert disaster. Leadership plays a vital role in diffusing crises. The world narrowly avoided nuclear Armageddon in 1962. We must heed history's warnings to prevent another crisis. Section 9. Averting Armageddon, the Imperative of Understanding. The specter of nuclear war looms large over the 21st century. The confluence of geopolitical tensions, technological advancements, and the erosion of international norms has created a perfect storm that threatens to engulf the world in a nuclear firestorm. Understanding the factors that contribute to these tensions is paramount. We must move beyond simplistic narratives and engage in nuanced analysis of the motivations, perceptions, and calculations of all actors involved. This requires a commitment to dialogue, diplomacy, and a willingness to listen to opposing viewpoints. Education and awareness are also crucial. The horrors of nuclear war must be impressed upon current and future generations. We must ensure that the memories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki serve as a stark reminder of the human cost of nuclear conflict. The survival of civilization hinges on our ability to understand and mitigate the risks posed by nuclear weapons. This is not a task for governments alone. It is a collective responsibility that demands the active participation of citizens, scientists, policymakers, and leaders from all walks of life. We must act now before it's too late.